Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to showcase some of the casual games that I've made. I've made a number of games over the years, and some of them skew into the sort of party or very social game category. Things often for lots of people when we want to sit down and have a good time with our friends and not necessarily overthink every situation and have analysis paralysis. Let's just sit down and have fun quickly. So a number of games that I've made sort of fit into that genre. One of the ones that I rather like is Zombie Mosh. Zombie Mosh is a game about being zombies in a mosh pit. It's a multiplayer game for up to 6 players where we're all playing zombies, rocking out with our own cool zombie boards, flailing around and trying to knock each other's limbs off and be the last zombie standing. It's pure chip taking. It's very screw your neighbor. It's very targeted action, and it just lets us sort of gang up on whoever we like, rely on the social dynamics and a little bit of weaseling to let people know, why don't you target them? Why don't you target them? And let people play these sort of double-sided attack cards and have some little fights at the end to see who can be the most cunning or the most weaselly. We wanted something that was quick and fun, where people can sit down and be playing in 30 seconds and have a good time, right? And really play their first game and maybe win their first game, but certainly enjoy themselves. And leave the targeted action up for dealing with things like balance and fairness. The game was originally conceived based on the mosh pit theme, based on the idea of bouncing around and knocking each other's limbs off, as it were. And a friend of mine came in and just as at a glance went, this game should be about zombies. And of course he was correct. The game is now about zombies. And it shows really the importance of having a theme that connects to the mechanics and really sells the gameplay. And also sold the game. Barnes & Noble picked it up as part of their Halloween line, and we had a fairly excellent end cap in Barnes & Noble stores, of course, because it's a zombie game. So that went really well, plus we got really excellent zombie art, so very high curb appeal, very easy for people to pick up and play, so I think that went really well. I've done some other slightly more thinky casual games, right? One of those was Rorschach, which is the ink blot party game. In which you have a collection of different ink blots that you lay out on the table and ask all kinds of hopefully interesting questions. Which one would you most like to have at a party? Which one would be the most dangerous? Which one do you not want to find in a dark alley? And you have to predict which one other people will select. So you're sort of choosing the ones that you think your friends are going to pick, which includes knowing your friends. It includes thinking about how the ink blots sort of look from different positions on the table. It's a good drinking game. It plays well for psych nerds. And like many of our casual games, it's so simple that the entire rule set is on the back of the box. Again, I wanted something that you could play very quickly, that you can pick up and have a good time with. It also works very well in that sort of party game space. There's a victory condition and somebody wins, but that's often not the point in games like this. And so as a party game, people can kind of jump in and jump out round to round as they like, and the mechanics of the game keep everything rolling forward, so that goes pretty well. Now, some casual games still want to play in the 2-player play space, right? Just to have a more direct sort of light strategy. It is a competitive game, but something where we're, it's not so much outthinking the person as it is just having a good time together. And one of the games that I did with that is Dogfight. Dogfight is a 2-player game based on World War II dogfighting, and we have very nice metal die-cast planes for you to play with. And it's a fairly simple puzzle game based on unit positioning and predicting movement, right? I know where my planes can go and where your planes can go, and there are dice and there are random elements, but there's also a little bit of outthinking your opponent. And solving what is a fairly simple puzzle. So it's a good family game. It's a good game. We got a lot of reports of, like, this is something that I play with my grandfather. This is something that we pull out and play because it's both casual and easy to teach and easy to understand, but also is something that does reward thinking. And I hope, starts a conversation about some of the elements, World War II, some of the things that the game is about. I do think, as a designer, I always want to nitpick all of my own games. Nothing has ever been published with my name on it that I don't want to do something with. I feel like maybe the game needs better late game acceleration, right? I would like the board to collapse in on itself a little more than it does now. But I think it went quite well. A game that I made that is an excellent sort of casual game that perhaps went in a different direction is Roman Taxi. Roman Taxi is a multiplayer pick-up-and-move family game where you're running around ancient Rome, picking up different characters and helping them get to where they need to go. And sort of, it's a lot closer to mainstream family games than a lot of the hobby games that I've otherwise made. Very high interactivity, very screw your neighbor. I do think it was rushed to market, right? We should have play tested that more, right? I think it's good. The core concept is fun, but there's just so much that I look at and I would want to do differently. And in some cases, we kind of had that opportunity. The intellectual property for this game was actually picked up by another company and used to turn into a Facebook game that obviously has very different mechanics, but builds in the same world. And I was involved in helping them convert that to a Facebook game and doing some of the redesign. So I was very excited to work on that. Perhaps the casual game that I've made that I've gotten the highest compliments on, that I've perhaps gotten the most sort of reward out of, is Toboggans of Doom. Toboggans of Doom is a race game in which you play over 3 different rounds, racing to the bottom of a toboggan sled run, full of ridiculous obstacles, full of living snowmen and giant lasers and sharks and all kinds of chaos. And so a little bit of it is the tension between, how much do I want to explore and get points for that and figure out what's going on, and how much of it do I just want to go as fast as possible. The theme's a lot of fun. It's really satisfying to play. And the greatest compliment that I've gotten, probably for both Toboggans of Doom and Time Streams, are just the number of times that I've been wandering around PAX or Gen Con or other conventions years after we made these things, and people are still playing them, and people are still enjoying them. So I'm very excited to see those games out there being enjoyed. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you about my casual games. Look for the video on strategy games and some of the other things that I've worked on. Thank you.